And I think we are live. Gonna give it a few minutes to let some people get in. Okay. Hi, Susan. All right. I'm about 2 minutes early. No, 1 minute. Okay. We're going to give it just a couple of minutes. Oh, thanks, Susan. We're going to give it a couple minutes, let some more people join us. And hi, Anita. All right. I am going to go ahead and play the intro, and we're going to get started. Okay. I forgot to open up my Cricut design space. There it is. It is opening. So before we get started, guys, I want to talk a little bit about the file. Let me go ahead and make this where you guys can see it. We don't need a little teeny tiny. And I am going to open it. Now this file is made with all free images. It is available to all of my Ko-fi and Patreon supporters and all of my one-time supporters on Ko-fi. So if you want this file, you can support one time on Ko-fi. All the links are down below and you can get that file. But you have to do it before midnight tonight for one time. And then after tonight at midnight, you would have to be a monthly member to get this file. So if you want this file, you have to get it before midnight, June 10th, 2020, in order to do one-time support for it. And it is made with all the free images, as I said. That being said, I hope that none of you have cut yours yet, because there may be some tweaking to the file, because I have had to do some things with this file. I had set out originally to do it as a 5x7 and could not get it to work without having 12x24 paper, and we know that we ran into issues with shipping and stuff like that. Well, I got my 12x24 paper and started relaying out the design and redesigning the template box, and 12x24 paper wasn't big enough, so we had to compromise and go to an A2 size. So that I apologize for, but it should work. We shouldn't have any problems. And I will pop over and show you guys what I mean by I tried everything to get this to where we could do a 5x7 of it. Here is the first mock-up I did just to figure out what pieces I needed and put it together. And it looks okay, except, you know, it's not, the pieces are not cohesive and made as one without all of these seams. And that works okay if you want to wrap every piece and then hinge it together. And you'll see what I mean by hinges. But it's not going to be as sturdy, and it's not going to hold up as well doing it this way, because your hinges will eventually break down because of the way that they're done. So then while I was waiting on my 12x24 paper, I was like, maybe I can do it without 12x24 paper. And I did this one. And I tried to do it by covering the edges so that when we put our panels on, we wouldn't have all those raw edges. And I didn't like the way it was coming out because of the angles and stuff like that. Even if I kept it square or if I made it pointed, it just didn't look right. And then when you put that panel on camera, it probably wouldn't show as bad. But, you know, when you put it together and it's sitting in your craft room and on your shelf, you don't want things like that, you know, and it all being bulky. And even when you put the panel on, it's gonna show. You don't want to design that way. So I was like, you know, nah, I'm not happy with that. That's not really what I was going for. So I did compromise and took it down to an A2 size card file. So when you get your file, you're going to cut your pieces, of course. Guys, do not leave your chipboard cutting unattended. It can cut through your mat. And it's always going to say those 24 passes. You don't need 24 passes. It does take 2 mats to cut it, or 2 pieces of chipboard to cut it. I tried to finagle it all sorts of different ways and get it on 1 mat or, you know, 1.5. And it just would not fit. Either way, you're going to have to use 2 pieces. So give it a little room in there. We'll pop over and I'll show you that when you're cutting it. Let me transition over. Here we go. So here is the file, and when you look in it, you're going to see some writing on the chipboard pieces, and these are just so that you can tell what pieces are what, okay? Thanks, Pat. But all of this, it's going to be hidden. It's not going to be seen, so don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about what color it's written in. The only thing I'm going to say is when you hit make it, because, and I'm only saying this because I didn't think of it and I didn't move it, this piece right here, you may want to just swap them so that the writing is in the center, because when you tape this down, it's going to write on your tape like mine did, but it's not a big deal. You can leave the tape is going to be on there and then you can write it by hand, okay? So if you forget to do it, it's not a lost cause. Don't worry about it. You can do that and you'll be able to figure out what piece is what. So because I had to have 2 mats anyway, I did kind of move this around, and I just moved this piece to the other mat right here. Oops, I forgot to do something. Also, and I don't know why it doesn't warn us when we go to cut. Maybe that's something Cricut can look into. When you're cutting chipboard, do not forget to move your white star wheels all the way to the right so it doesn't dent your chipboard, and change your size to 11 by 11, not 11.5. And when you do, it should automatically put it on 2 mats. So you're going to have some that's left over that you can use for other projects on both pieces. But what I like to do when I'm doing mine is, if it's going to take me a couple anyway, I like to move my pieces and give them a little bit of space. And that is just so your blade doesn't pinch when it's cutting, because it can shift a little, and that's the reason why we tape it down with painter's tape or masking tape and use a strong grip mat so it has minimal movement, but it can still move. If it hits a fibrous place in your chipboard, it might pinch the blade. So if you give it a little bit of extra space, I found out I don't run into that problem like I used to. When I first started working with it, I was getting those pieces in there just as close as I could get them, and my blade was always pinching. So if you just space it out just a tiny bit, because I mean, this is chipboard. You know, you want to give it, that knife blade, some space. Give it a little bit of space. Oh, great, Andrea. You'll love it. I love chipboard projects because you make them and they're good. I mean, they're not going to break apart and stuff like your cardstock ones will. They're going to last you for a long time. So just give those a little space. Then this mat, these are just panels for inside and for outside, and they're the same sizes. Doesn't matter. and just make sure that you cut those like you want. And I put them in 2 different colors, so if you wanted a different color inside than you did outside, that you could do that. Yes, a 1/4 inch space between each piece, Jamie. I thought I said that. Maybe I forgot it. Thanks for reminding. Because on your cardstock, you can get that stuff pretty close. Not a big deal. But on your chipboard, you want to make sure that you give that a little bit of space. Well, let me get back over there. I didn't want to close out. So, yeah, like I said, when you hit that 11 by 11, it's automatically going to move that piece, and just give yourself that 1/4 inch. I'm probably giving it a 1/2 inch there, but it's going to work out for you a lot better. Yeah, I'll show them to you here in just a moment, Anita. We'll pop over there and I'll show it to you. So this, it doesn't matter, just these 2 colors are nothing but inside and outside pieces. And then we come to our 12 by 24. You're still going to need it, even though I went to an A2. And you can see how much space that's taking up on a 12 by 24. It's down to 14 inches. And that was the smallest I could make it. But if you change this mat right here at the bottom, if you change it to a 12 by 24 as well, it should change the rest of them that are that color and bring that down to 2 pieces of the 12 by 24 to make this design. That being said, I am using the 2 millimeter. You can use the 1.5. It's just not going to be as heavy, not as sturdy. Just so you know. And your pieces you may have a little bit more. It's not going to be much, but you will have a little bit more play with your cardstock. I have put 10 of these strips in here, guys. I'm hoping that's enough because I didn't have time to put this together and test all of the pieces. But these are just hinges, and we're going to be using them. I went ahead and cut off the ends for the shape, basically. But you may have to cut a couple of extra of these. And if we do, while I'm putting this together tonight, I will go in and add the correct number of these that you need. Okay? And we should be able to get them out of the same mat, as far as I could tell. Yeah, if we need a couple more, we're going to be able to get a couple more out of this mat. I can get 2 or 3 more out of there. So just count on, if you're cutting, if you've already cut yours, you may have to have a couple extra of these strips. These are called the hinges. So now we've covered that, let's go put it together. And guys, chipboard takes a little bit longer on your projects. They're not quick projects. They do take a little bit of time. Let me make sure that this thing is going to switch for us. Yay, there we are. Okay, so you're going to need your masking tape. And I'm just going to kind of pop over here for a second and see if I can show those star wheels. Close your eyes. I don't want to make anybody drunk. Right here, your star wheels, you're going to push these all the way to the right when you're cutting. These are all dispersed on your rod. You're going to push these all the way to the right before you cut your chipboard. Okay, so everybody knows these are what your star wheels. They are. You can pull them back after you've cut. But for any chipboard or wood projects, or I'm going to say all of your that I've run into, your 11 by 11. And please don't pay attention to all the paper trash on my floor I threw out today. My vacuum cleaner is going to be screaming mercy later. Let's get everybody back here on the project. Again, I don't want to make anybody drunk. Straighten you guys up. There we go. Is that good? So tape down your chipboard on all 4 sides. I use my roller to put it on the mat so that it stays stuck really good. And then we're just going to clean all of our masking tape off of the chipboard. And here's what I meant about it writing on the wrong one. And I almost cut the wrong mat. When you stop your chipboard from cutting and check it and it's ready and you eject that mat, make sure you click on that second mat or it's going to start doing the first mat again because it's going to be out of order. So make sure you click on the second mat when you load your second piece. And that's what happened there, and I stopped it before it started cutting. Thank goodness I had writing on there. But like I said, I didn't move this one over, and so it wrote on the masking tape. So I just wrote it, hand wrote it. It's not going to show. Make sure that when you peel your masking tape off, you're peeling from the inside to the out. If you pull this from this corner this way, you're going to start shredding your chipboard. Not what you want to do with chipboard projects. Okay? And you can just go in and remove all of those. And the asterisk means that the chipboard is going to sit on the inside of that piece. Okay? And the dashes mean that actually, I don't think that's supposed to be on the back. So you may I may have to fix that. Like this one says the lid flap or lid F, it has the 2 dashes. That means it fits to the outside of all the pieces it touches. I think that one is just the bottom goes to the back on the outside. The outside here and inside here. That's what that is. That means this piece, the little asterisk on it, means it fits to the inside of its pieces. I tried to make this as easy as possible for you guys so that it wouldn't be difficult to put together. It's really easy to put together. It's just a little bit time consuming. So I may be going a little fast, but you guys can watch the replay and slow it down or pause it while you do your pieces. And as always, thank you to all of my supporters on Ko-fi and Patreon and YouTube members. And a great big shout out to our moderators. Awesome, awesome job that they do for you guys. So we have all the pieces, and I'm just going to put my panels to the side. We don't need those right now. All of these pieces are hinges. Still not sure we're going to use those, but I left them in the file for tonight. And we're going to start with the base. That's lid, lid, bottom, front, left, right. That's the top and the back. There we go. So you've got a piece that looks like this. There are no score lines on it, guys. I could put score lines on here all day long, but it's going to depend on the materials you use as to how this will lay out. And you're basically going to just lay out your pieces like so. This left piece is going to line up basically right here with those 2 notches. And then your right side is going to line up over here. Okay? And we're just going to glue those down. And you can make sure that your chipboard is acclimated, that you let it set out 24 hours before you. And I am just not even going to fight that glue tip because it takes a little bit more glue, but you want to be careful. You don't want to use a glue that is too wet for your chipboard projects. And if you are using something like art glitter glue, make sure that you kind of use it sparingly so that you've got enough stick, but you don't want it to bubble up and make your chipboard swell. So I'm just going to put enough on here so that I have some slide power. And I'm just going to line that up so that the corner here is meeting right there. And you still need scissors because you're probably going to be trimming. And then I like to use my roller and roll that down really good. Then we're going to move over to this piece. And this is a little tip. You put that right there. And that's how you're going to measure for your lineup. So we're going to take and put this little bit of glue on the back. That's a little heavy there. You don't want to get real heavy with it. Don't want your chipboard to swell. Just going to push it right over. Kind of make that piece try to stand up, basically. And then I'm just going to push up against it. That's going to help me line it up so that it's got the same amount of space all the way down. I've got it straight and it's even across the top. And then we're going to do this piece. And I'm going to place it right there. Grab a piece and push that in. I'm just going to come across the top here and push that up. Just make sure you have it in place. I'm going to give that just a second to dry. Don't want to be folding on it and all that while that's wet. This is my bottom piece, so you need the bottom next. And the bottom is going to go to the inside. Is going to go to the, I'm sorry, not to the inside. This is to the outside of that back right there. Okay? This should give me enough room. And you're going to have to play with it and wiggle. It should be sitting on the top when you're done, like so. Okay, so you're going to, after you've got it a little bit of stick, you're going to let that do that. And that's why I said you're going to need your scissors. And you're just going to clip that corner. It's already cut a little bit. You may have to cut a little bit deeper in. It depends on your placement. That's kind of just a guide. You don't want to break your cardstock down, so be careful when you're doing this. And just get it to sit up on top. Just like that. It's on the top at the bottom. You can see that. And it's on the top up here. And don't worry about that little gap. We're going to take care of that. Okay? And that's just the chipboard where it acclimated. And my glue's not completely dry either. You're going to let this get good and dry. Okay, you're not going to be rushing through it like I am. You want this to be dry. You can put a book on it, whatever. Let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes and then come back to it. Okay? And then you're going to do the same thing with the other side. And you notice I'm just kind of picking up and sitting it on the top there and then working my bend. And I'm just kind of breaking that cardstock down or stretching it, but you don't want to do it so hard that it splits. Okay, so just take your time and it will do that without splitting, and you can see that it's perfectly sitting on top in each one of these corners. Those sides have to sit on top of the back. That's what those stars are for. Now the bottom piece is going to sit right here on the outside of the back and the outside of the sides. And I think I got the wrong piece. I cut it wrong. Oops. I'm going to have to fix that in the file, guys. I am off. I don't know how I did that. We're going to go over and fix it right now. So if you guys are cutting, stop. I don't know how I did that. Did I mix up my pieces? Okay. Maybe. I'm going to need 2 pieces. So I'm a little bit off. Okay. That's okay. I'm not going to glue that one down yet. We are going to cut a piece really quick while we're putting together the lid. How about that? So you guys can see. And don't do what I'm about to do because you could run into problems. But I'm going to do it anyway. I am going to use a green mat, but it is a brand new green mat. I've only cut 2 little things on it. So let's place this chipboard. We are pretending that I have a purple mat. I must have bumped something because my others were perfectly fine when I sized it. You're going to tape down all 4 edges, just like so. Painter's tape or masking tape, either one. Washi tape will not hold it. Just so you guys know. So let's pop over to the file and you guys can see me edit. All right, so the piece that is incorrect is ungroup. So I know that that one's wrong. I can get rid of that. These are the panels. Ungroup. All right. That piece is 4.75 wide. So that piece needs to be, if you're working with chipboard, it's 4.75. When it's acclimated, the average is 0.092 added to that because it's sitting to the back. That back is going to sit on the top, so it needs to be 4.842 wide or high. And that's what I gave it. So why is it too short? What have I done? Ah, this one's cut at 4.5. How did it cut at 4.5? Oh, I didn't. Ah, I see what I did. Ah, boo, April. How did you do that? See what I did? I typoed it. That's supposed to be 842. 2934. 2.934 by 4.842, not 428. It's correct now. And I'm just going to change it to another color for this little cut. And I'm going to tell it that it's 11 by 11. I'm going to continue. I'm going to say okay. My bad, guys. I am so sorry. I'm glad I did my tutorial and found it before you guys started cutting. Heavy chipboard 2.0. Make sure you have your knife blade and a pen. I don't really need the pen. We're going to air write on this one. And swap out that blade. I almost forgot to move my star wheels. There we go. And it does tell you on that screen to move your star wheels. A little squeaking going on. All right. Let's go back over and work on the other piece while we're cutting that. Hi, Andrea. Thank you, Marianne. I caught it too. I did. That's exactly what happened. So I have a piece now. Let's go over. Let me get you guys back over here. All right. So this piece is going to be scrapped for something else. And while this is drying and we're waiting on that piece to cut, we're going to do the lid. So all is not lost. We're just going to set that to the side. This piece is the front flap, okay? So I'm just going to put some glue on the back of this. And we're just going to kind of center this one up right here. Leave one edge undone for now. And we're just going to come along that one edge here. This one edge here. And this edge here. Just like so. And then you're gonna, that's gonna kind of wet your cardstock just a little bit so that you can work and play with it. I like to kind of get it mushed on there a little bit. And then you're going to glue that edge right up on there. Rolling that gives you, it's going to be hard for you guys to see on camera, but it gives you that nice crisp edge. That's all it does. It's not absolutely 100% necessary, but I give it that little extra push. And then we're just going to, you can see that my corners don't quite meet there. Again, this is where you're going to need scissors. And the reason I say that I could score this and put those on there, guys, it won't matter because it's going to depend on how your chipboard acclimates. Everybody's is going to be different. So that's why. And you can kind of see if I don't roll that edge, how that one kind of rolls out where these are nice and crisp. That just kind of flattens it down. And that's all you're going to do to that flap for now. Okay, we'll come back and revisit that in just a moment. Now we're going to take this lid piece here and we're going to place our pieces. Okay, they're going to glue on in this manner. I'm just going to start with, do I want to start with these? I think I do. I think I want to start with an outer edge. Maybe not. Maybe let's start in the center. That's going to help you guide those other pieces. And I'm just right into this area. I know that this is angled funny, and there's a method to my madness. I wasn't sure if I was going to use this flap or not. We're either going to fold it back or we're going to use it. I'm going to take my piece that's messed up here, and same thing, we're going to use it to gap, okay? Oops. Something's going on over there. Where's our... Oh, it wants me to check. Oh, finally got a looks good thing. Mine usually cuts before I get there. So I just want to make sure that got that on straight all the way through, and then it's lined up at the bottom. Press that down. That looks good. And then I'm just going to pop that right out on my mat. So hopefully that one is yay correct. It's going to fit. Oh, you're so... Yeah, I mean, I bet I have cut this box, I don't know, I'm ashamed to say, 6 times, maybe. You know, just... This is also going to help you make sure that these angled pieces are in there straight. So just run a piece in there, make sure it's straight up against this one and that your lines are good. And that it's straight across the bottom. Okay. And then we're going to do our lid front in there. This will give this a chance to dry before we start messing with it as well. Just gonna pop that in there. Let's make sure that that gets a good slide. All right, and we're going to set this to the side to dry. Okay, you want to get that dried. You can go ahead and bend it a little bit if you want, but I wouldn't try to make sure it all fit tightly yet. So we're going to revisit back to the base, guys. This is where I had my boo-boo and did not cut it the right size. All right, so now we're going to bring that in. This piece has a little warp to it, but that's okay. If you've got a really bad warp to any of your chipboard, you can lightly mist it with an alcohol and water solution. Very, very, very lightly. Very lightly. Just mist. Don't wet it, mist it. And then place it under a book and it will flatten it back out. But working with it, when we're putting this glue on it, it's going to moisten it enough to where it will work out for you. So I'm going to place it this way. I'm putting the curve up on this one because it'll help pull it back down. I'm just going to pop it right in here. And again, I'm going to take that scrap piece that I have, and I'm going to push that up. Oh, I almost got that a little too short too, but it's okay. We got another piece going on that, so it won't hurt anything. It was as wide as I could make it. I couldn't make it any wider. So this piece is going to sit up on the top. Okay, I'm sorry, on the bottom. This is the bottom dashes